All right, so just giving you one of the biggest things for me that turns me away from Islam is child marriage being taught in Islam. Not just the fact of child marriage, but having sexual relations with prepubescent girls. You know, girls who aren't matured yet and things of this nature. So I just want to get your general idea just on this thought before we even go into it. Would you agree that it is not okay for grown men to be having sexual relations with immature girls?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Forget, like, I just want your general idea. Forget Islam or Christian, like, just your general idea. Do you think it's wrong for grown men to have sexual relations with immature girls?
Okay, well, yeah, religion aside, what is grown, what is immature?
So, like, somebody like you and me, I'm 28.
I'm 25.
25, dope. And I go get with, like, a 7-year-old.
Like,
I have sex with her.
Intercourse.
Yes.
I would say my personal morality that it wouldn't fit. Like,
thank you. I agree.
So I don't think that 7 is mature, but there are different ages that people mature at. Like, for me, I have puberty very early, like 10 years old. I grew a beard like 12.
Yeah.
And versus my brother, who's like 5 years older.
Yeah.
And he didn't get anything. Like, for me,
yeah,
I did a couple push-ups and like I got like bicep veins and stuff. I used to do but I quit. But like our genetics are completely different. Like, he got a lot of, honestly, the Japanese side. He's very much like my mom, and I very strongly got my father's genetics. But you know, there's some people that they're not mature, especially Asians. My mom is 4'8". They could be, you know, 18 years old and they're still too small to have a child without like a very
complications,
very high risk.
Yeah.
So it depends. I would say, you know, age. I would say that is definitely just numbers, not just for mental maturity, because we can all agree.
Yeah, physical maturity and mental. Age, it can vary.
Like, there's 40-year-olds that are more dumb than 10-year-olds.
No, you're right.
And,
so this is where I want to get to. Okay, so both of you, we both agree automatically that's a no-no, right? Grown men, adults, getting with immature children. That's just, to me, I'm gonna be very frank and real, because you said I could be transparent. All right,
it's nothing I haven't heard before, bro.
Okay,
I grew up after 9/11 in Tennessee.
Okay, yeah, so
as
you
an
good.
Afghani with the name Rahmatullah.
Yeah. So I
jumped every day after school.
Oh, that's tough. So
there's nothing I ain't ready for, bro.
Okay, for sure. So all right, so for me, this is a big thing for me. Okay, so in chapter 65, well, dropping stuff. Chapter 65, verse 4 of the Quran. It talks about divorcing your women.
I'm gonna get my so I can read it at the same time.
Okay.
You can read it to me also.
Okay. 65, ayah 4.
The waiting periods?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So it says, and those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, for them the iddah, the waiting period, is if you are in doubt, is 3 months. And for those who have no courses, it says, i.e. they are still immature, their iddah is 3 months likewise. And for those who are pregnant, whether they are divorced or their husbands are dead, their iddah is until they lay down their burden, give up the baby. And whoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to him, he will make his matter easy for him. Okay, so here's the point. At the top of this, it says, and those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, right? So they're too old. This is menopause. They're too old to have their periods.
Let me read this because it's different.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wording. Well, yeah, I think this is a lot better. It's a lot more clear. That's why it's called the Clear Quran. It straight up says menstruation.
Oh, that's good.
So I'll read it also, you know, in case that's too complex for them. You can just edit that out.
I edit my reading out.
No, I mean, you can lead it if you want.
No. The good one is good. Go ahead.
Okay. Waiting periods for divorced women. All right. Bismillah. As for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months. And those who have not menstruated as well. As for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery. And whoever is mindful of God, he will make their matters easy for them. This is the commandment of God, which he has revealed to you.
Yeah.
And whoever is mindful of God, he will absolve them of their sins and reward them immensely. Okay, so you're asking...
I'm saying that this verse is teaching you about how to handle your divorced women, right? So that they can move on to the next lover, basically. Their waiting period. So there's three groups of women mentioned. There's the older women who are too old to menstruate. There's the young girls who have not menstruated yet. And then there's your pregnant women. Okay? So that's what it's telling you how to handle divorcing those three groups of women. Those three groups of girls, right? So one of the groups is where my problem is with the immature ones. So it's showing that they've married these girls and now they're divorcing them and they're still immature. Now here's the key to this. The key is the iddah, the waiting period. The waiting period is the 3 months to make sure the girl is not pregnant. Why is the iddah involved? Because the iddah is to make sure they're not pregnant, meaning they had sex with them. And so the Quran elsewhere says in chapter 33, verse 49, it says, if you have not touched your wife, she does not have an iddah. When you're divorcing her, she doesn't have an iddah. So the fact that she has an iddah, the young immature girls, the fact that they have iddahs means that their husbands have slept with them. They had sex with them, even though they're immature.
So is that your interpretation?
No, that's what the scholars interpret. Like I looked at the tafsirs on this and everything.
I've never heard that before.
I thought it would be a good place to take a break here so that we can get into the nitty-gritty of the Islamic sources here. So we're going to check out the commentary, the tafsirs, on chapter 65, verse 4, and see what the scholars have to say on this matter. So going to the tafsir, here we look at Tafsir al-Jalalain, and this is what they say. It says, and for those of your women who no longer expect to menstruate, if you have any doubts about their waiting period, their prescribed period shall be 3 months. And also those who have not yet menstruated because of their young age, their period shall also be 3 months. So according to Tafsir al-Jalalain, chapter 65, verse 4 speaks of divorcing the girls who have not yet menstruated because of their young age. So this isn't women who are sick or who have health issues and that's why they haven't menstruated. No, they haven't matured yet because of their young age. They haven't hit their menses, their menstruation, because they're too young, right? That's according to Tafsir al-Jalalain on chapter 65, verse 4. Now let's go over to Ibn Kathir. Now Ibn Kathir reads, it says, the iddah of those in menopause and those who do not have menses, do not menstruate. Okay? Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause, and that this is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her older age. Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 228. Here it is, guys. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause. Right? So they have the same iddah, waiting period. They have the same waiting period as the older women. This is the meaning of his saying, and for those who have no courses. So according to Ibn Kathir, according to Tafsir al-Jalalain, the meaning behind, and for those who have no courses, that means the same for the young who have not yet menstruated. They have not reached the years of menstruation. They're too young. Because of their young age, they have not matured yet. These are the type of women that are being divorced. These little girls are being divorced, and they have a waiting period checking to see if they're pregnant. These little girls. Now, let's continue on to the consensus. of the scholars. Let's go to the fiqh, the ruling. The ruling on marrying a young girl. And here's the link, you guys. I'll put all the links in the description. Now, what's the fiqh on this? The second section, the ruling on marrying a young girl. The first issue, the father's marriage of the eldest daughter. This is by agreement of the 4 schools of jurisprudence. The Hanafi school, the Malikis, the Shafi'is, and the Hanbala. And there was consensus on that. Then they go on to quote chapter 65, verse 4. My Arabic readers, you guys know what this is about. And they continue to say, the verse included the permissibility of marrying off a young girl. And there is no right to marry her with her unless her father gives her in marriage. So what did this just say? The verse gives permission of marrying off a young girl, right? And there is no right to marry her unless her father gives her in marriage. And what is the proof of this? What is the example that they use to back this up, to back up their understanding of the verse? What example do they use? Well, only the best example for all mankind, of course. Second, from the Sunnah, on the authority of Aisha, may God be pleased with her, the Prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, married her when she was a girl of 6 years. And she, now this is a bad translation here, I'm going to read it, but what it really says, it says, and she was married to him when she was the daughter of 9. What it really says in the hadith is that he married her when she was a girl of 6, and he consummated the marriage with her when she was 9. So he married her at 6, had intercourse with her, sexual relations with her, when she turned 9 years old. And she stayed with him 9 years. So that's the example that they give to back up their understanding. Now, what's the significance of this? This is according to the consensus of the scholars, by the way, guys. This is the fiqh, the ruling on marrying little girls in Islam. This is explicit in the permissibility of the father marrying off a young girl without her permission, because she has no permission. So the little girl has no say in the matter. She doesn't have to give her consent. There is no consent of the little girl. It's the father that gives her off to marriage. He is the one who has the permission or gives the permissibility to marry this little girl, his little daughter. It's up to the father, not to the little girl. She can fight all she wants, but it's not her say. It's up to the father, okay? Without her permission. It's explicit, right? Now, let's go over to now the Asbab al-Nuzul, which is the reason why verses are revealed. Asbab al-Nuzul means the reason why verses are revealed, why the verses came out in their context, okay? And so this is what we find in the Asbab al-Nuzul by al-Wahidi, okay? I'm going to put all the links in the description. So talking about chapter 65, verse 4, and for such of your women as despair of menstruation, right? The ones who are older. Sayyid Muqatil, when the verse, women who are divorced shall wait, keeping themselves apart, Khalid ibn al-Numan ibn Qais al-Ansari said, O Messenger of Allah, what is the waiting period of the woman who does not menstruate and the woman who has not menstruated yet? And what is the waiting period of the pregnant woman? So it's asking for 3 categories of women. The woman who's too old, the woman who's too young to have menstruated, and the women who are pregnant, right? And so Allah, exalted is He, revealed this verse. So this is the reason why it came down. Now, it quotes a lot of people giving the report. So when we jump down to where it came from, Uthman Amr ibn Salim, who said, when the waiting period for divorced and widowed women was mentioned in Surah Baqarah, Ubay ibn Ka'b said, O Messenger of Allah, some women of Medina are saying there are other women who have not been mentioned. He asked him, and who are they? He said, those who are too young, such that they have not started menstruating yet. Those who are too old, whose menstruation has stopped, and those who are pregnant women, who are pregnant. And so this verse was revealed. So what's the reason why this verse came down? Because there were women who were left out on how to deal with them being divorced, how to handle their divorce. What's their waiting period? You know? And according to all the scholars, the consensus of the scholars, according to the Asbab al-Nuzul by al-Wahidi, according to Ibn Kathir, Tafsir al-Jalalain, and we can check all the other tafsirs, they're all going to say the same thing. Chapter 65, verse 4 is talking about divorcing young girls who have not menstruated yet. And they have a waiting period in Iddah, which means that their husbands slept with them. Astaghfirullah.
Yeah, so I could show you, because I don't have much time, but I could show you, look, let me show you the verse really quick here, 33:49. And I want you, you know, when
because from what I know is that even marriage, even like the most extreme arranged marriages that I've heard of, is that they cannot even have penetration with them until, like I said, like that they're fully done, developed.
Oh no, sir, that's in the actual ruling, and hopefully maybe I could get in touch with you and show you what I've learned, bro.
Yeah.
In the actual ruling, the ijma, you can try to penetrate at whatever age, even if they're immature, if she can take it, basically. That's the rule.
Who decides if she can take it?
The consensus of the scholars. So like, it's like, yeah.
No.
I know it sounds crazy, bro.
It's not about sounds. Is that like I'm saying, if you're gonna say bold claims like that, that is.
You gotta prove it. You gotta prove it, right?
Well, yeah, in a lot of different ways, you know, because
sure,
I'd be the first one to tell everybody, you know, but. It's like you have to be very careful too, you know, because I'm not gonna go around, you know, saying crazy stuff about Christianity unless I know it's
exactly.
Like,
that's why I would never bring something this like.
Question: are you familiar with Muhammad and Aisha?
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah, and Aisha, his wife.
Yeah, I know his wife.
That and her age. Like, did you know that she was 9 years old when he consummated the marriage with her?
I don't know the specifics of it. Like I've heard that. Like that they got married possibly at that age or whatever, and that there's a lot of debate between that, especially, you know, with all the other common stuff against Islam. But that's what I'm saying. That's not something that I have the knowledge to speak on. Like,
and that's fair.
I haven't studied that.
That's perfectly fair. So this is what. So let me just show you this verse just to show you that I'm not like tripping. So it says, "Oh, you who believe, when you marry believing women." And then divorce them before you have sexual intercourse with them, no iddah, right? Divorce prescribed period. And look, it even gives a reference for 65:4, what we just read. So no iddah have you to count in respect of them. So give them a present and set them free, i.e. divorce, in a handsome manner. So they don't have an iddah if you had not had sex with them, according to the Quran. Right? And iddah is the waiting period, the prescribed period for them to wait.
Oh yeah, so you mean like there's a nikah where you say, okay, we're practically husband and wife, and then you don't have sex with them, and then so there's no waiting period to just say, okay, it's over.
Exactly. Yeah. So you could just divorce them and it'd just be that.
So you're pretty much saying that you think that it means that people say, okay, so if there's a child, just say however old, and then I said, okay, we do nikah, we're married.
You can have sex with her.
But what is the what's the thing to debate? That's it? It's just that if we get married, then it's okay to have sex?
Mm-hmm. Even with immature girls.
So saying even like a 3-year-old, that's by your same law, it doesn't matter?
Not by my law.
Well, I mean, like that we're saying that if this was this is what you mean. Like, so the age doesn't matter. Like 7, 8, 9, 10, 3, 2.
Not according to Islam. Not according to the Quran here. Okay.
So that's your belief. So
yeah, that's probably my
so
number
that's your
one.
number one thing.
Probably.
Okay, I'll try to, I don't know, like ask people.
around.
Yeah, especially
So what I want you to
to
do.
see if I can, because if
Yeah.
you know, if that's something even like the masses are like distraught about, like, dude, I mean, I would, if I believe that, I would, but that's just something that even now it's like,
If you knew that this was in here, would that be a problem for you? If this was the case?
if that was true Islam,
Yeah.
oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the end of the day, I'm saying there's many things that are in the Quran, such as marriage, that I never would get married my entire life until I read it in the Quran. Really,
Yeah.
Like, it's married in the West. You only have things to lose.
Shalom,
And
shalom.
so, especially, it's like, why would I stick to one woman?
Okay.
But God prescribes it for me, so I try to understand it. I try to seek the knowledge, but I'll still say, you know, like, I'm not convinced, because it's like you will see whatever you want to see when you read a certain text. It's the context. What are you looking for? You know, someone could say, "Nice shirt," and you'd be like, "What you talking about, bro?" Or like, "Oh, thanks, man." It's all like your perspective, you know.
Yeah.
So
I don't
and
want
that,
to keep you holding.
yeah,
It is time for prayer, but I don't want to.
yeah. Jazakallah here.
Take care of you. Thank you for the conversation.
Oh, for sure.
I appreciate it.
Logic.